Tell you the truth, I learned from the old men that work here, which I know how they did it back then, but I didn't ever have a chance to do it. So when I come out here, then this is the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way.
Yeah, North Carolina has a rich history with the pork industry, and it's almost become cultural, if you will, especially when you think about barbecue. We like to think of ourselves as the barbecue capital of the world, because barbecue in North Carolina is cook a whole hog, it's chop it up, it's serve it as chopped pork. It is unlike barbecue you get anywhere else in the country. It is the culture of North Carolina.
Good at this now.
My father and I started Alpine Farms in 1994. We decided to raise nursery pigs. Sampson County and Duplin County have always been known for having a lot of swine production. There's probably 5 hog farms within a 10-mile radius.
North Carolina's pork industry is the 3rd largest in the country in terms of total hogs and pigs, our inventory, behind only Iowa and Minnesota. We're a $10 billion industry in the state of North Carolina, the 2nd largest ag commodity in the state, and ag is the largest industry in the state. So we are a significant contributor to the economic success of North Carolina as a state, as well as to the pork industry as a whole across the country. So our producers across the state are going to range from very small niche producers that work with maybe a local retailer or a local restaurant to sell product, all the way up to some of the largest in the country and largest in the world.
I've started hearing about African swine fever being a problem, and that's really scary. Now that's a problem just with hogs, but it can be in wild hogs and spread to domestic hogs.
Feral swine in North Carolina cause a significant amount of damage to property, to private public lands, and they also present, as we talked about, a significant disease threat to our domestic swine populations. African swine fever is a really big threat because of its recent identification just over in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And because it's such a close proximity to us and because of how severe that disease can be, it does pose a significant threat to us here in North Carolina.
If a disease were to enter the commercial market, there'd be ripple effects that would extend well beyond just that commercial industry.
I genuinely worry about what we will do and how we'll respond if and when we get a foreign animal disease. African swine fever is probably the worst of those. There's so little that you can do in response to it. We don't have a vaccine. Once you get it, you don't get rid of it. The other countries that have experienced it, they're still fighting it, still dealing with it. And so that really is probably top of my list, what keeps me up at night. And we know we've got to do more to remove feral swine from the population. We are encouraging folks to work with the state, to work with federal officials on trapping and removing entire sounders, entire herds of feral swine, because while it sounds like a lot of fun to hunt them, what we know hunting tends to spread them, not take out the whole herd. Trapping is the best way we've found so far to remove entire groups of feral swine.
We will pour corn out, some kind of bait, put cameras up, get the hogs conditioned to that area. Once they're conditioned coming daily, we'll begin putting our trap together, still applying more bait, keeping the hogs comfortable. And once we have an idea how many pigs we have in that area, we'll go ahead and drop that gate and all the pigs are in the trap. We will require blood samples from them. We're testing for things like pseudorabies, brucellosis, classical swine fever. We are testing all the pigs for ASF, African swine fever. All of our samples are spun down. We get serum from the pigs. We also collect genetics and ear clipping to kind of know what kind of strand of genetics are out there. We will freeze these samples and we'll ship them off to Fort Collins for testing.
We receive samples for ASF in at least 30 states across the U.S. and territories, and And so they show up in coolers, and our team goes in, organizes all the samples by disease type, and we send those off to diagnostic labs across the U.S. And once those labs test the samples, they send the results back to us, which we enter into our databases, and then we share that information with each of our states that was involved, just so they know what's on the landscape.
If certain diseases were to get into the commercial swine population, it would be truly detrimental to the commercial swine industry we have in this state, which, depending on the disease, that could spread out to be detrimental on the East Coast or in the entire United States. There's an old adage about feral swine that goes, a feral pig is the only animal that can have a litter of 8 and 10 will survive. And as humorous as that sounds, the proliferation of these animals is absolutely no joke. And that is one real reason we're substantially concerned about the influence these animals would have if African swine fever were to hit the continental United States.
And now we want to make sure that we protect the future of the industry in the state from foreign animal disease, from other diseases, and controlling that feral swine population helps us protect our ability to put barbecue on the plates of North Carolinians.